Yes, how are you?
You're fine.
Today, welcome to my English lesson. And today, I want to talk about specifically writing, and we're going to write composition. First of all, we want to see the first of composition. Composition has what we call introduction. We have the first of the story and what is tested. What is composition for example, introduction? Composition, this simply means ideas put together to form a story, and possibly a story is always written in paragraph forms. And a story has introduction and a story has the conclusion. So I'll start with the introduction. What is introduction? I'll start with introduction. Straight to introduction. Introduction. Introduction, this is the first part of a composition. The first part of a composition is called introduction, and that's the first paragraph of a composition. That's what we call introduction. What's the purpose of introduction? Introduction, we say, is the first part. The first part. First paragraph of a composition. First paragraph of a composition. And what's the purpose of introduction? Introduction gives the reader or the marker. It links the marker or gives the reader the idea of what this person is talking about or want to write about. So when you're writing a introduction, make sure it is so nice. It is let us say maybe it is cultivating. It is appetizing. It is making the reader to want to know more what the story is all about. So the introduction should be so nice. It should be interesting. So make your introduction as interesting as possible. And also make sure the introduction part is very get out you. The introduction part is very nice. The introduction part has no mistakes. The introduction part has no spelling mistakes and maybe tenses. It should be as clean as possible. Then we go now to the main body. From the introduction, we now move to the main body. Main body. From introduction, you go to the main body. In the main body, here we are now going to have several paragraphs. Not like in the introduction where you have only one paragraph. In the main body, you have now several paragraphs. And these paragraphs should be, let us say, when you're writing the paragraphs, you should start with the most important item or idea or a point as you move to the less important idea. I'm not saying the last paragraph should have an important that's not very much important. A point that's not very much important. For example, you are writing maybe a speech. A speech is a composition. You are writing about now importance of trees. Start with the main importance of trees. As we move downward, we will be talking about trees can give us shade. But you know the main importance of trees, we have them. They can give us timber, water catchment areas, and ABCD and etc. So let us start with the most important ideas or points. When you are writing in the main body here, this is where now a lot of things are tested. Your ideas connect each other. Ideas should be connecting each other. Do not put more than 3 ideas in one paragraph. A paragraph should be carrying its own idea. From paragraph 1 to paragraph 2, paragraph 3 with its own idea. And that's where we'll now get what we call a flow. So make sure your main body has what you call good flow of ideas and paragraphs systematically arranged well. Now from the main body, we'll now go to what we call conclusion. Conclusion is the last part of your composition. Conclusion is the last part of your composition. Here is where maybe you can decide to summarize your work, whatever you have written. You can decide to conclude the composition with a proverb. with a phrase, with a quote. You can use such kind of words. You can even conclude your paragraph using a rhetoric question. And what do I mean by a rhetoric question? You must leave the reader in suspense, wanting to know what happened later, what happened after now. You should leave the reader willing or wishing that you didn't put your pen down. The reader should be still having appetite to know more about what you are talking about. Now, I think those are 3 parts of our composition. Now we go to what is called now, what is tested in the composition? What is tested in composition? And here I go straight to what we call creativity. What is tested? What is tested? What is tested in composition? What is tested? Number 1, I'll say creativity. Creativity. What is creativity? What is creativity? What is creativity? The question is saying, write an interesting composition. Or the story says, you have been given 40 minutes. Or the below is a beginning for composition. Write it, making it as interesting as possible. And how are you going to be interesting? You will be interesting when you are creative. Look at God. God was very creative. And that's why using the soil that we step on the soil, God was able to come up with a man out of that soil. So you should also be creative. We are going to make our work creative. By doing what? We are going to do, different learners have different ideas. Different learners have different ways of thinking. And the learner that will think, a learner that will come up with a story, a learner that will come up with a story that is unique, a learner that will come up with a story that is admirable, a learner that will come up with a story that is captivating, that is original, will win very many of a good mark, will win the mind of the mark. And his or her creativity will be very high. So you should be a learner who is thinking differently with other learners. So come up with a story that is unbelievable, a story that people can read and wonder, was it true? For example, you are talking. For example, I told you, I normally tell my learners, or wherever I go, I tell people, don't fear to be a pilot, don't fear to drive a Porsche car, don't fear to be kidnapped. You are already becoming creative. Don't fear. And I normally also ask my learners, do not die. Don't say, I died. Die is not being creativity. That one is not. You should also be realistic. So, number 2, I want to talk about language vocabulary. Language vocabulary. Language vocabulary. Language vocabulary. What do I say language vocabulary? You should use vocabularies. These are new words. New words that are making your work long. This vocabulary will make your work. What are these vocabularies? Well, for example, the use of expressions, vivid expressions. Vivid expressions. Vivid expressions. You are describing maybe using descriptions. You can use descriptions. Descriptions. You can use idiomatic expressions or idiomatic expressions. Idiomatic expressions. We can also use similes. Similes. You can use similes. You can use similes. You can also use maybe the parts of speech. You can also use phrases. So use of expression. I want to say use standard expressions. Expressions that are understood by almost everybody. Use a standard expression. Don't go to expressions. Don't go and just get expressions that their meaning is not even confirmed. Don't just get expressions from other books elsewhere. Go for the expressions that are also realistic. Use expressions correctly. And why do you use expressions? When you use expressions, you will make your work long, you will improve the length. When you use expressions, you will improve your creativity. You will be able to describe. For example, I was walking, maybe I was smartly dressed. Someone is saying, I was smart. Another one is saying, I was smartly dressed. I admired myself in a dressing mirror. I looked spick and span. I smiled broadly. I was walking all airs around me. That person is improving his or her creativity and is making his or her work to be loud when reading it. So the reader will feel good when reading the work. Now another one, sentence construction. Sentence construction. Another part that is tested is sentence construction. Sentence construction. Remember, words make sentences and sentences make paragraphs. Construct sentences that are grammatically correct. Look at your grammar. Look at a grammar. Your sentence should be grammatically correct. Your sentence will be short and precise. The sentences should not be too long. The longer the sentences, the more mistakes you make. Make shorter sentences. Let me see your paragraphs being formed by several sentences. Use as short as sentences as possible to eliminate mistakes, to eliminate grammatical mistakes. So kindly use shorter sentences. Indeed, I was happy. Curiosity killed the cat. Those are shorter sentences. I stood still. I stood deep-rooted on the ground. Those are shorter sentences with less or few or minimal or even no mistakes. Let us use shorter sentences to make our work be able to be read easily. Let us use short. Then another part that is also tested, we are always talking about punctuation. Punctuation. Your work should be punctuated. And never the punctuation marks you have full stops, you have comma, you have question marks, you have brackets, you have opening and closing speech marks. When you are writing, for example, a speech, when you are writing a word that is not in the dictionary, is not an English word, but it's used in English. For example, ugali, chapati. You got them because they are not English words. Then, and we don't have words that are used, English words that are used to describe the words talking about. So we are going to punctuate our works. Use full stops. At the end of a sentence, you must put a full stop to mark the end of a sentence. When you are starting a new sentence, use a capital letter. When you are abbreviating, use a full stop. When you are talking more about bringing another meaning about something, use a bracket. Use the punctuation marks. When you are maybe, for example, you are in a shop, exclamation marks or exclamatory marks are also used. So let us use whatever, punctuate your work properly for easy reading and understanding your work. Then we're also going to talk about use correct tenses. Correct tenses. And very many candidates fail. Correct tenses. If it is a speech, very many speeches are used, you are talking, are always in present tense. But what about the other compositions or other writings? Use past tenses, because you are writing about something that took place sometimes back. Use proper tenses in your writing. Then they also check the flow of the story. I told how the flow of the story is achieved. Let's just talk about the spelling. Spelling, another place or part that is tested is spelling. Bad spelling, they change the meaning of a word. Word that is not spelled properly, which can change the meaning of the word, can even make the reading of the work difficult. And remember, these markers, most of the time, they don't have that time to see, to imagine what are you writing. They just want to see you as a prepared candidate that you know the spelling for river, the word river, you know the spelling of the word river. You know the spelling of the word beautiful. And you know how you can, some of these spelling can even achieve them by trying to pronounce these words. For example, when talking about beautiful, say beautiful, beautiful. You know, how do we get this? The spelling. Use your dictionary well. At least in a day you can go to dictionary and check some 3 or 4 or 5 words and get their meaning. You ask your friend in groups of 2 to 3, 4 or 10. You can even ask your friend the meaning or the spelling of the words. Then last but not least is handwriting. Handwriting. Move forward. Move. Handwriting. Handwriting is very essential. Handwriting is very essential in writing. Handwriting gives the reader the morale. It motivates the reader, whether he or she should read your work or not. Handwriting has no marks, but it impresses the reader. It gives good impression to the reader. And this is what I normally tell my candidates, or rather my pupils or my learners. Someone comes to see you, someone gives you a present, a golden watch. One is wrapped in a very clean maybe bag or a piece of paper, good one. Another one is giving you a golden watch, same golden watch, and it is wrapped. It is wrapped. Let me put it this way. I never tell my candidates, someone is giving a golden watch, and the golden watch is wrapped in a tatters. It is wrapped in a very dirty piece of cloth. Then another person gives you maybe a rotten egg, and the rotten egg is wrapped in a golden piece of cloth. What will you go for? I know very many of us will go for that rotten egg that is wrapped in a golden piece of cloth, and leaving behind that golden watch that is wrapped in a dirty piece of cloth. So the reader, when you write in bad handwriting, the reader will, maybe your work is very good, the reader will automatically say you cannot write good thing in a bad handwriting. So unfortunately you will fail because of bad handwriting. And what about that person with a very not written anything good, but writing in good handwriting? The reader will say you cannot write something bad in this kind of handwriting. This person, you will impress the reader, and the reader might decide to give you very many marks, even that 8 out of 40, leaving behind that one with having written very maybe the good thing in a bad handwriting. So having heard me, I want to ask you to put what I've told you into practice, and you will never regret it. Thank you very much, and have a nice revision as you wait for the forthcoming exams. My name is Mr. Edward, teacher of English, and I'm also a facilitator. Thank you.